Right now, Pittsburgh's only firing on 3 cylinders, and they need some of these other guys to step up outside the big 3. Jermaine Dixon's their 4th leading scorer. Last 5 games, 0 3-pointers. Terrell Biggs did not score against Xavier. Those 2 guys, Dixon and Biggs, need to step up. But Gilbert Brown, Brad Wanamaker, Ashton Gibbs, all these guys who played well this season, they've done nothing the last 3 weeks.
We will step aside from our cylinder count here to tell you that one of the teams that fell short in the East was UCLA, but one of the top candidates for the Bob Cousy Award presented by the Hartford is the Bruins' Darren Collison, an award, Greg, given annually to the premier point guard in the nation.
Yeah, the journey this year didn't go quite as far as it has the past 3 seasons for UCLA, but it wasn't because of Darren Collison. 14 points, almost 5 assists a game. He had a phenomenal collegiate career, one of the best point guards in the country.
All right, coming up next on the road to the Final Four, we'll talk live with Louisville head coach Rick Pitino and his senior forward Terence Williams. The Cardinals will play Michigan State tomorrow in the Midwest Regional Final. For the Spartans, a win would represent a symbolic victory for an entire state.
Having a powerhouse like Michigan State able to contend for people to say that we can get to the Final Four gives people hope.
2:20 Eastern Time, we'll have the tip for the Midwest Regional Final between Michigan State and Louisville. The Cardinals are the tournament's overall #1 seed. Joining us now live from Indianapolis, Louisville head coach Rick Pitino and his star forward Terence Williams. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Rick, let me ask you, the state of your team, has it exceeded your expectations for this year, or is it living up to the expectations you had when you started out?
I think they're living up to it. It's an interesting thing about the Big East this year. We knew it would be the toughest conference since the inception of the Big East. I guessed wrong. I thought it would take 4 or 5 losses to win it. We were very fortunate to win the regular season playing at West Virginia. We wanted to get great experience in the tournament, and they won it as well. So they may have exceeded it by winning the tournament after winning the regular season, but in terms of playing up to their potential, it's right where I would hope they would be.
Coach, I want to ask you, in a lot of things you've dealt with in the past with your life, do you have a different perspective in how you approach to coaching this group, and does that allow them to maybe be a little looser in terms of how they play?
Well, I told them in the first game, I said, now the getting on you guys and the constant correcting, that's over with now. This is fun time right now. You know what to do. You know what not to do. You've been corrected enough. Now it's time to go out there, play as hard as you can play, and have fun. And they've been doing that. And they're 1 game away from the great prize of playing in the Final Four. And if we're fortunate enough to make it, then we're 2 games away from a national championship.
Hey, Terence, let me ask you, along those lines, not only are you so much fun to watch because you're so good, but you play the game with such joy. Obviously, it's how you play well, but do you feel it's kind of your job to keep everybody loose on this team and make sure they don't succumb to the pressure of what you're going through?
Yeah, Coach P is more like the discipline guy. He's more like the father of us, and it's my job to be like the big brother to make everybody laugh, and me and Andre McGee, and have fun on the court. You never know when it's your last day playing basketball, so you got to go out and have fun. This game is about fun, and we play such great together and have more fun on the court when we do have fun. Instead of being so mad at what Coach P says. When Coach P says something to the guy, I may come back in and tell the guys, don't worry about it. Let's just go out and continue to play ball.
Coach, let's talk a little bit, really for both of you, about preparation now for Michigan State. What are going to be the challenges that they'll present for you?
Well, they're the #1 rebounding margin team in the country. They're big on the backboard, plus 9-something per game. We understand that. I told the guys that we try to compare every team we play to a Big East team that they would face. And this team is a lot like Pittsburgh in the way they play defense, and the way they body cutters, and the way they're relentless on the backboard. So it's we've got to bring it. Obviously, T. Will and Earl Clark have been great rebounders most of the year, but we're going to need our 1, 2, and 5 to step up as well, and I believe the guys are up for the challenge.
Terence, what are your thoughts about facing Michigan State, and how much have you gotten a chance to see them over the course of the year?
They're one thing, we seen them the other day walking, around, being around Indiana, and they're a tall team. Their front court is real tall. They have a great point guard in Lucas, and of course he wears #1, so that's good. He had 7 assists yesterday, and when the game's on the line, he wants the ball in his hand, as you seen yesterday. And the foul that was called, I called it an NBA foul, because he got the player in the air, and the player came down, then he waited for him, drew the contact, and made the shot. So when they needed him to score, he stepped up. So they're a very well-coached team, with Coach Izzo. So it's going to be a great game, tomorrow, because how tall they are and how well they play.
Well, I'm trying to keep up on the nicknames here, so Coach P and T. Will, thank you so much for taking the time, and congratulations to you. We look forward to seeing you in action tomorrow here on CBS.
Thanks, guys.
You betcha. As for the Spartans, last night they rallied to overcome defending national champ Kansas 67-62 to move within one win of a trip to the Final Four in Detroit. And as Michigan State's run has picked up momentum, it's also provided a much-needed lift to the larger community, especially in the Motor City.
My father worked 33 years for Ford Motor Company. My neighbors worked for GM. Everybody on my block